Um, I popped back up on Hades.
Oh,
Took a look
okay.
at
So what
that.
did you end up doing after all?
I just did a couple runs. I loaded up. So I took a look. I
What
went
I
to.
mean is you just kept it rolling.
So yeah, I took a crack at. I loaded up my save to see where I was and to see, like what had been done or so.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think it was like 47 hours or something. you know, uh,
That's a lot to have put into that version of the game.
I mean, I
Dude,
wasn't
hold on. Let me load up Steam. I think I'm at like 100, but that was like
okay.
1.0.
I wasn't exaggerating. I really loved that game. For during early access, I went super hard. Um, and yeah, I think I kind of so I did a few runs, and it is interesting because like I'm like okay, um there's a bunch of stuff that I remember like so I remember when the room additions, the renovations like character wasn't there,
Yeah.
and like that added a whole bunch of stuff to spend money on. I remember when they added. Well, I remember when like Karen's art wasn't there. They added Karen and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm going back and I'm like, right, all this stuff got
Yeah, there
added
were a
and all these
lot of characters that were just floating
placeholder art and
figures.
such. Even Orpheus and uh, uh, his muse.
Eurydice.
Yes, right. That was a whole bit that was like again just not present for a while. Um, but uh, looking back on it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that I got relationship like I gave nectar to just about everybody. In some
Hmm.
cases, twice. In a bunch of cases, twice over. And my mirror of night is almost entirely maxed out.
Hmm.
Um, and the stuff that came later, like the iterations of weapons, I
Hmm.
didn't have the doubles for because the currency, like diamonds, didn't exist, or like the Titan blood stuff at the time, I think didn't exist either. Maybe I'm wrong on that,
I
um,
can't fucking remember.
but either way, I remember like there was only one version of weapons, right,
Hmm.
for a point, and then there was an
And
update
now
where
there
the
are four.
yeah. So I realized when I'm like, okay, so yeah, there's a bunch of the versions I don't have, but the what and so what I'm kind of curious about now as I'm going through it is like, well, the way this is going, like if especially if you guys are have been mentioning like, oh yeah, like 6-5 runs and then you beat it, no problem, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like that's the way rewards are working. So I'm like, maybe like so I think the patches are introducing new features in, but I'm not
Mhm.
sure if it's like the same version of the game flow essentially.
So
So
I can't speak to that because you're doing a strange thing. Like a lot of the
mhm,
people who ran that game early access, like
mhm,
ran it throughout its early access up until 1.0.
mhm,
You went from like point 0.6 or point 0.7 to final release.
mhm.
I don't like. I definitely know diamonds did not exist. Like you're
Yeah,
not crazy when you say that.
and I do
But
remember,
diamonds have been associated with just like extras or
right.
feature
Well,
unlocks instead of power.
I mean, the version I was playing too was one where Meg was the only of the sisters that existed,
Yeah.
right? They did not have the other two yet at all.
And you never
Um,
encountered heat prior to this, right?
No. So I
So,
looked back and I actually saw I did start a new save just to like see if there was anything different at the beginning.
mhm.
Um, and that was after again a major patch. But I think I wanted to do a couple runs to see like how it felt with that old save, and then yeah, I think it's basically just going to come down to like okay, if there is a difference between that and like a new 1.0 save, then um, start a new save, right? If not, then like I can try to continue and keep all the updates and upgrades have had and stuff, but but just based on the way the runs go, and I
Mhm.
guess maybe the way the difficulty feels, and the description I'm getting from everybody, it seems as if it's probably going to be drastically rebalanced, starting a new save
So
compared to what I'm on.
let me think about this. So one of the one, so there's pros and minuses, right? The minus is you don't want to lose the stuff that you've unlocked, right? Like that doesn't like nobody likes that. And there was a historical benefit to the way you were doing it because there's dialogue that no longer exists that would happen on every patch. Like when Theseus and the Minotaur got added, there was dialogue going, "Hey, I heard that Elysium is now available," and there was like a bunch of dialogue between you and Theseus and them to acknowledge that they were brand new to the build, which is now gone because that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
In terms of, so let me ask you. You said your Darkness Mirror is almost finished, right? Like maybe what, 80%?
I have 3 stats on the list that are incomplete, but it's pretty. There's a lot.
Okay.
Of
what about the green Darkness Mirror?
Not the alt purple into yellow.
Yeah, okay. So the alt mirror, what happened was is they used to take you forever to foil up the mirror, and then they added all the alternates, and now it takes you forever to fill both. But if you figure out, oh, I want this one, I want the one where I
pick
do
your
back attack
preferences
damage instead of the full health one, you just pick that.
Yeah, or spend
right?
keys to cash out and re.
So that is overall sped
Respec.
up. The main thing, and since you didn't beat the final boss, you didn't, right?
No,
Since
yeah,
you
you're
didn't,
correct,
your progression is way less fucked up than it could be. Because all the materials all the blood and diamonds and shit that you would unlock for weapon upgrades and state upgrades, those are all post beating the boss the first time.
Right. Though something I realized right off the bat was my progression is still probably fucked though, because again it was a test to see. I'm like, let's see what the restart situation would look like. Something that happened, for example, was I did a bunch of runs when I came back to it last time as well, and I never got a diamond, right? And I was like, well, these diamonds are a new currency. Let me go see what the deal is. And like, I remember seeing like, oh, you can trade them in, but they're pretty expensive. You got to spend 10 nectars, right? And then what did I do? I took a weapon out last time that I never usually used, and I got to like whatever, like the Hydra or something with it, and then beating the Hydra with it gave me a diamond. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Was I supposed to be getting them with a bunch of different things that I've already cleared? Because the achievement list that would have rewarded that, if I've already cleared it on a previous version, that reward might not necessarily pop.
Okay, so yeah, your achievement list, your prophecy list, your minor prophecy list, that thing is assuredly all fucked up.
Yeah.
I will say, however, I'll explain the way you achieve these currencies because they're like most of the game. Once you beat Hades the first time, you unlocked what's called the Pact of Punishment, and what the Pact of Punishment does. See, normally, if you beat it with a sword, you would earn 1 blood from the first boss, 1 diamond from the Hydra, 1 ambrosia from Theseus and the Minotaur, and another Titan blood from Hades. And you could do that on the sword, you could do that on the spear, you could do that on the gun, etc. And each one. However, that kicks you out at a maximum of 10 blood, 5 diamonds, 5 ambrosia, and 5... right? Once you beat Hades, it goes, okay, clearly the base game is too easy for you because you did it, right? You will then be offered a exhaustive list of modifiers. So making it so the traps are more damaging, or that you only have 9 minutes per region, adds 1 heat. And by adding 1 heat to, say, the sword, you now reset all the rewards.
Okay.
And you can go through it again. Once you add 2 heat, you reset all the rewards. And that's where the all the blood, all the diamonds. Yeah. Since you didn't unlock that system,
yes.
You're safe from having fucked it up.
But a lot of rewards that would have been given to me by this point have not been, as a result of them not existing, right? Because I've cleared the reward point. Like there's only 1 weapon that I didn't beat the Hydra with at that point, and that's why I got the diamond. But the others, I had already done it, but exactly, right? So
the
that
other thing, is that there's a lot of dialogue that was like not necessarily in 1.0, but since you left it, there's a lot of dialogue and story stuff that is before where you are now for characters that were mostly unfinished.
At the time. Okay. I did so new characters, so for example, when Nyx got added, like there was
I fucking forgot that
Nyx
she
was
wasn't
not
even.
there. Yeah. Oh no, dude.
Dude,
Like
she talks to you like the most of any character in
yes.
the entire game.
Yes. And when she showed up, I remember it didn't treat it as if it were like you were in the middle of this progress point and then she just is like starting in the middle. She showed up and you start talking to her and it worked in that our conversation started at the beginning, right? Same thing for Tisiphone and Orpheus and such. So it did feel as if these new characters showing up didn't like you didn't. I don't feel like I missed out because it feels like we're having like a normal conversation going forward. But just from a numbers perspective on the rewards and shit, like yeah, it feels as if like I should have been able to do a lot more of those expensive like expansions of the
Yeah.
areas and shit. I should have been able to get like weapon variations and stuff at this point that I don't have, and so that's where I'm kind of like,
Yes. So
okay,
you would have
because it's
been
gonna
able
be
to
a
use Titan
grind.
Blood to
Yeah.
unlock new variants.
At this point, I'm like the only way to get that diamond is like to just grind until I get 10, nectars, and then go trade them in and
Or
you know
beat Hades and then unlock the heat
right.
system.
But at the same time,
Um,
too, I think, well, I mean, I'm hitting a point certainly where it's like, like at least based on my progression and the types of advantages I have and the charms I have, which I'm missing 3, but I've unlocked all the others. It feels as if like everything pre-Hydra feels like pretty whatever breezy, and then
mhm.
it feels like around Elysium it's like no, there's still a pretty decent chance of you dying here, so
Yeah.
to get to that point where it's like the sub 10 run clear that you guys are talking about, I'm like, yeah, that just sounds like a different version of this video game entirely,
Yeah,
so
so the way the progression works if you restart it. So you're obviously taking if you were let's say you were to restart it, right? First of all, you can throw all your worries about progression in the trash because the tutorials will launch back up. The game will introduce things at the right speed as it was intended, yada yada yada. You're going to keep your own goddamn knowledge on how to play the game, right? I would say building that darkness back up with your new knowledge will go much faster than the last time because like knowing how to beat Lerny is better than fucking like actually having the upgrades to beat Lerny. Like like for example, knowing which are the really good upgrades makes a huge difference. So like more dashes. Yeah, more dashes is fucking vital.
oh yeah, no,
The
no, no.
the upgrade that does 40% more damage if they have 2 status effects on them. Yeah, that one's fucking vital. Get that one right away.
Oh yeah,
That makes all the difference in the world.
4+ dashes, speed increase, anything Hermes related, all that shit from Athena, everything Zeus, lightning chain, all that shit has been like clutch for a while now. Uh, but then I remember when it was like, oh right, chaos gates. There's an interesting, twist in it. Should I take these every time? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like skill up and get better at it. But
Yeah, the other thing is that internalizing the I'm going to call it point value, but it's a cash value of every different upgrade in the game is like one of the biggest things. So like Daedalus hammer, right?
Hammers are great.
Is pick it every
Yep.
time. It is the
Yep.
most high value item in the game.
Yeah.
After that, it's double boon. After that, it's single boon. After that is depending on your upgrades, a nectar, et cetera, et cetera. Or a
I go for
palm.
a palm. I'll say a palm.
So
Yeah.
one of the unlocks you have is that nectars give you a free palm.
Okay. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that etc. So and you basically internalize the math. It's like, well, that's 100 gold if I go in the
Mm-hmm.
gold one, and that's a health item. Well, the health item costs 125 gold at the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, the health item is more valuable than gold unless I
Yeah.
have the gold up. Blah
And
blah blah blah.
you know, and I mean, none of this is like it's my fault for like loving it too much in early access. Like I
Mhm.
know that going this hard like leads to these types of, situations at this point, especially. There's nothing they can do balance wise where like, hey, you've progressed past the point where you should have gotten a reward, except for giving it to you retroactively. But whatever. In QA, I understand. Like it's a whole fucking blah. So, I guess I'm just looking at it like, yep. No, this makes a lot of sense. And now I understand the exact nature of like why my save feels the way it does.
You're in a very strange
It's an
position.
odd thing, but I will say, so yeah, definitely it seems like, okay, the restart makes the most sense there. But
You
in
could also God mode it for like fucking 8
yeah,
runs.
I know. That's a thing now. I'll just restart. But looking at it
Oh,
and looking at the number and going like, okay, yeah, I got close to 50 hours in on this, and um, I in the future when something is in a similar state, like for example, Darkest Dungeon 2, perfect example. I'm going to have to restrict myself, for and wait for 1.0. I'm gonna definitely just be way more trepidatious about going
mhm.
all in on these games when like the concept stage it's at is super addictive, you know. Because yeah, I
Oh,
don't. Every time this happens, it's a fucking
that reminds me,
feels
in
bad.
terms of your upgrades, something that you'll want to know going forward. Um, so unlocking weapons is obviously really cool, and like say the first sword, it's like the special does more. You get more damage after the
Yeah,
special is done. So, they're minor statistical boosts, right?
yeah.
The the thing you need to know is that the fourth weapon you unlock, which obviously you have to unlock them in order, is a completely different weapon.
Mm.
So like it completely alters the entire move set, and in most cases has a unique mechanic associated with it.
Okay.
So you definitely want to beeline to that fourth slot.
I was hoping that they would all be really unique. I guess the implication is that they're like slight stat changes here and
One,
there.
two, and three are variations.
Mm-hmm.
So like the shield variation 2 is it fires multiple shields, and shield variation 3 is it fires a shield that's really slow moving, but it's huge and it's spinning,
Yeah. Okay.
right? And then the fourth shield, fucking, you load your cast into the shield, and when you do the charge, all of them explode when you hit. And it has a different attack animation. Like, it's completely different.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, Ryu Kanekuma and Jin.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Yeah. But no, I got going and finding out exactly what was up with it was very helpful for figuring this whole thing out. And yeah, let my plight be a warning to everybody. About
I'm going to do the opposite of you with Hades 2.
you're gonna go all in on the early.
I am going to max that shit out per iteration, and then on full release, I'm going to fucking start all the way over.
If you don't mind that feeling, then absolutely. I'm just that old fucking trauma format with my FF7 save and all my Mugen creations.
I feel like every person I have ever met in my life lost an FF7 save. For
Dude,
whatever reason.
when you're young and it's like it and it's hard to
Yeah.
do shit that shit,
'Cause
it
you're a baby.
fucks you up, man. Yeah, lost progress is just a nightmare. I never got over it, and I don't like the feeling of all going. But at the same time, too, it's proportional to how much I enjoy the game, right? Like, I really enjoy Dead Cells. I
Mhm.
knew every time I progressed in that like, I would be doing myself no favors for 1.0. But it's like I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, that's fine. Like when the time comes or whatever, I'll be okay with the lost progress there. It
I
doesn't
mean,
feel
Dead
great,
Cells is
but
kind of weird also because Dead Cells is on like 7.0 or whatever the fuck
yeah,
now with
yeah,
all its
yeah, yeah.
DLC.
But again, when something just gets its hooks in, you know, like Hades was my comfort game for months, man. You know, so all right.
I think the
Um,
craziest version of that is still Darkest Dungeon, the
mm-hmm,
first one,
mm-hmm.
because like the version from point 0.9 or whatever version was right before to
Mm-hmm.
1.0 added that body mechanic, and that was the only real thing that it added. But like it inverted people's
Everything,
opinion of that game. Like people
everything.
lost their fucking minds.
Positions are not what they used to be. Everything's different. Your entire game plan's changed. Yeah.
It's
It
really weird that they like decided that one of the largest mechanical changes that they could add to the game was going to be the only thing they didn't play test.
hmm. I think with one as well. Okay, I think what I'm probably gonna do though for something like that, like Hades. I don't know, like what. There's something to when it's an action game. You feel like I don't want to turn God mode on. I want to just kind of want to play it and get and do the thing.
You want your brain to be the god mode.
Yeah, with something turn based like Darkest Dungeon, I'm like my fear of losing my progress is like I said, I have a fucking complete ass Hamlet. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And trinkets that are like a giant list of trinkets. Uh, I might just do whatever to like complete my Hamlet and pick a save up from that point, you know, and
Mhm.
just like crush through those first things just to get that DLC out of the way, just to like scratch all the itches of like the stuff that I left off on because my save was also early access and you know, and just put it to bed once and for all cuz yeah, man, like there's the like if you I hate the restart feeling. When I really like the game, I fucking yeah, it hurts, you know? But
For me on
anyway.
Darkest Dungeon, I'm like in this place of like I'm not touching that game even a smidgen until they add controller support because like the fucking like caravan steering shit
Um
fucking trash
I
on
play
keyboard. It's terrible.
I play the caravan with my controller. I just use
Oh,
joystick key.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mapped WASD to my pad and then I'm just playing it with that.
I don't care enough to do that.
Understandable.
That's where I'm at.
Have a nice
Because
day.
like me going through that process would be me going, I'm annoyed with this. I'm very annoyed that I have to do this.
Yeah. But the taste I got of 2 and beating it and beating the you know the boss there and getting that narrative out of the you know out of the way has been good enough that I'm like I have faith in the rest of this game. Time to just go lightly from here on out until they're all done, you know? Anyways, so yeah, that's Hades. Um
You know, the fucking voice actor for Zagreus was temporary. He's like one of the guys on the staff, and they're like, "Can you do Zagreus's lines while we look for a voice actor?" And then they got a couple versions of early access in, and they're like, "Yeah, no, just do it."
I mean, his delivery is so believable in so many moments. That's insane. Because
Yeah, he's the composer.
I was just remarking to myself like there's a couple of line reads he does entering areas, like especially with the repetition of everything, where you're like how do people talk to themselves, right? Right? In video games world especially, like I better get over to that mountain to get this task out of the way, like what you know, all that bullshit. And like there's times where like he'll just walk back into a room, you know, or he'll hit the gates and just be like Elysium, you know? And I'm just like, yeah, that's it's just a very simple like right, what am I trying to do here? This. Okay, now and or you'll clear a room and he'll have that little like victory line and he'll just be kind of like, okay, now what? You know, or something like that where you're just like, yeah, that's how someone talking to themselves sounds.
Yeah.
You know? It's not quite like this video
Not
gaming
quite like Nathan Drake going, "I hope I don't fall off this mountain."
I could use this. Enemies everywhere. You know, it's a little bit of that. Like, which one of these?
I
You
still
know?
think the all-time best talking to yourself video game dialogue award should go to Jake the dog voicing Marcus Phoenix when you fuck up your active reload in Gears of War 1. Just that, come on! That fucking,
He goes into
I'm so pissed I could spike this gun into the dirt.
yeah. So no, Zag is doing a fucking. I mean, everything. Whatever. It's news alert. Hades is amazing. Whatever. Like fucking